Hello YouTubers, gold lovers, folks of all sorts. Welcome to my channel. Mike here. Today we're going to process a little bit of ore that my wife and I collected while we were out west recently. I had done some prospecting and found some exposed mineralized gold veins on the side of a mountain out in Wyoming. And didn't look like anybody had ever mined them or sampled them or anything. So I said, well, let me check them out. So while we were out there, wife and I collected a couple of bags full of samples from those exposed gold veins. We mailed them back home to ourselves. The USPS did its usual amazing job of destroying the packages. So the bags that we had the rocks in kind of fell apart a little bit. So I've got the samples I took from the vein I was working on in this bucket here. And then here are the samples of the vein that Leslie was working on. So today what I propose to do is I'm going to sort through this bucket and I'm going to get some pieces out of here. I've got pieces of the mineralized gold vein. So this is a piece of quartz with a lot of mineralization on it. It's got some oxidation. It's got some sulfides on it. I'm going to get a few pieces of this out, and we will run them through my ore crusher and see if we can make as fine a powder of this stuff as we can. And I'll pan it out and we'll see if there's anything of value in it that looks like. I've also got some of the wall rock that was immediately adjacent to the quartz vein because it's pretty mineralized too. And we'll run that separately and see if there's anything good looking in it. And we'll do some of the stuff from Leslie's vein too. Her vein was a little narrower than the one I was working on, and it was a few feet above it. So we'll look at both these veins and see if there's anything good in them. And if there is, we can go back and get a lot more of this stuff the next time we're in Wyoming because it's pretty darn accessible. It's not that far from our Wyoming ranch. There's a road that leads almost right to the spot, so it's not too hard to get to. I'm only going to do small samples today because I am working on some better ore crusher technology. I'm trying to build a flail mill. So once the flail mill's done, it'll allow me to process this bucket full of ore and nothing flat. It's going to be a little bit laborious to process even a decent sized sample with what I've got right now. So I'm going to get started on this. I'll pick out some, that's got some malachite in it, it looks like. That's always a good sign. I'll pick out some stuff from the quartz vein and crush it up. And then I'll pick out some stuff from the wall rock. That looks like wall rock. And I'll crush it up and we'll pan it out. So let me get my samples collected and we'll go over to the ore crusher and get started. So here's the three samples we're going to run today and see what they've got. I'm not, like I said, I'm doing small samples, so there's not a lot of material here. This is the wall rock, rotten wall rock that was immediately adjacent to the vein I was working. Here's some of the heavily mineralized quartz from the vein I was working, and here's some of the heavily mineralized quartz from the vein Leslie was working. So we're going to do these three samples, and we'll do them in this order. I'll start with the wall rock, and then the mineralized quartz from my vein, and then Leslie's vein mineralized quartz. So let's head over to the rock crusher and get started. Okay, let me explain how this is going to work. I got my small sample here. This is the mineralized wall rock. I've got my jaw crusher here. I'm going to drive it with my impact wrench, and it's going to crush up this stuff. Now, I'm going to run it through a couple of times. Right now, the jaws are set with a fairly wide gap. I'll give it a preliminary crush with that. Then I'll adjust the jaws to get as tight a gap as possible and run the stuff through again. Give it a second crush. And then I'm going to screen it with a number 20 screen or 20 mesh to the inch screen right into my gold pan. And I'm only interested in the fines that'll go through the 20 mesh screen. Anything that won't go through the 20 mesh screen, I'll just put right back in the bucket and wait till I have better ore crushing technology down the road and deal with it then. So that's what's going to happen. So let me get this installed in here. There we go. And this is going to vibrate like the dickens, so I'm going to move everything off of this table so it doesn't wind up vibrating off the table. Put a couple of bits of my ore in there. I got to get geared up. I need some PPE. I need a hearing protection and a dust mask. It's very dusty, it's very loud. So let me get that. Okay, so here we go. You're going to hear the air compressor turn on after a little bit because the pressure drops, but let's get started crushing this stuff. See the dust coming out? Crushing it up good. Kind of jammed up at the moment. Reverse it. There we go. Okay, I wasn't going to make you watch the whole process of crushing this stuff down, but here we go. This is what we got from the wall rock. It's actually fairly fine with some big pieces in it. It was harder to crush than I thought. I think, you know, when I was digging this stuff out of the vein, it seemed rotten and really easy to pull out, and I thought, oh, this stuff will crush up good. The problem may actually be that it's too soft. This jaw crusher is really designed for crushing hard stuff like quartz. So I think maybe this stuff is just a little too soft for it, and maybe that's why I'm having a little bit of trouble getting it crushed down. But we'll run this stuff through the 20 mesh screen. Actually got a fair sample there. And anything that won't go through the 20 mesh screen, well, I will just dump it right back in and we'll run it through again and see if we can get it any finer. So we'll try that and see if we can get some more stuff in the pan to sample here. Okay, here we go through the second time with everything that wouldn't go through the screen. Okay, after the second run through, we got some more fines here. I'll sift it out again. Okay, and then this oversized stuff here, which didn't get broken down, I'll just put this back in my bucket and we'll wait until I have some better rock crushing technology. Hopefully I'll have my flail mill up and running or something else that I can turn this all into a really fine powder. Ideally, it should be even finer than this, but for just a preliminary check to see what's in the ore, this is probably good enough. Okay, so let's go pan this out and see if there's anything in it. Okay, let's pan this stuff out, see what's in it. I got my tub of water here, got my favorite pan, got some jet dry in the water. So if we got fine gold, it won't float. You wouldn't believe how easily fine gold floats. And I get people in my comments all the time saying, gold can't float, it's too heavy. I'll tell you what, when it's fine and small and, you know, water has surface tension to it, and especially if that gold has a little bit of oil on it, I'll tell you what, gold can float. it will float. And it will drive you crazy when it floats. But a little bit of jet dry will break the surface tension of the water and make that less of a problem. So let's pan this stuff out and see what we got here. A lot of fines in this, making the water muddy already. Very dark material too. You know, the secret to panning, and it's really no secret, it's simple, anybody can do it, is you just agitate the stuff, get it good and wet. Get it good and wet. And sometimes you got to get down in there with your hands, and you got to break up the dirt clods and the clay balls and whatnot, and make sure everything is good and wet. Agitate, 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 agitate with the pan at a tilt. The pan's kind of tilted like this. I don't know if you can see the way I was having it like this, but the pan is tilted. You want, with your agitation, you want all the heavy stuff to sink to the bottom of the pan down here where this little ridge is, or this corner. You want it to stay, all the heavies to sink down there with your agitation. That's the purpose of it. The heavier stuff will sink, the lighter stuff will come to the top. And then you can just gently wash away the lighter stuff on the top. Gonna wash it over these riffles in the side of the pan. And the riffles will tend to catch any of the heavy stuff, and it'll work its way down to the bottom of the riffles. And you stop periodically and you re-agitate just to make sure everything's down at the bottom of the pan where it belongs, all the heavy stuff. And gold's going to be the heaviest thing in your pan. It's 19 times heavier than water. All these other minerals are lighter than gold. Some of them not by much, but they're all going to be lighter than gold. So with proper agitation, the gold should be at the bottom of the pan. And then you can just gently, and gently is the name of the game here, wash the lighter overlying stuff away. Leave the heavy stuff behind. That's how it works. So simple, you could train a monkey to do it. A lot of people think panning is some mysterious art form. Nope, it's dead simple. It just takes practice like anything else in life. Get good at it. So we're getting down to the nitty-gritty, but boy, this is some really dark material. Okay. Now we're going to do something else. Get a little more water in here. What we're going to do is we're going to wash this stuff back. Hopefully, if there's any gold or heavy minerals in here, they're going to be up in this corner of the pan right here. So I can just wash this stuff back and get rid of it. Get it out of the way. Get some more water in here. Let me re-agitate this stuff. And wash the lighter stuff away again. If you see any gold peeking out, you got to stop and re-agitate. Gold might be really fine in this stuff though, so odds are I might not see it naked eye. If there's any gold here at all, I don't know. We're prospecting here. That means looking to see if you can find some gold. 9 out of 10 times when you prospect something you don't find anything, but every once in a while you find something good. So if we got any good stuff, it should be up here in this. Now some of you are thinking, oh, you're washing away good stuff every time you clean out your pan there. Well, it's in a tub. I can rerun all this stuff if I need to. You know, it's not like I'm out on the stream and it's washed away forever. It's in a tub. So I can always rerun all the stuff in the bottom of the tub if I need to. I'm starting to see a line of lighter stuff up in there. But I can't really tell what it is. It's very fine. So what I think I'm going to do, let me get my jeweler's loupe out and take a close-up look at that and see what it is. Yeah, that line of lighter stuff is probably not showing up on the video. Okay, I think we got some pyrites in here, is what it is. That's what I think we got going on in here, is some various types of pyrites. Let me get them exposed a little better, and I'll see if I can get any photos with the macro mode on my phone and show you what I'm looking at here. Okay, I don't know how well this is showing up. I'm doing this with my phone. But there's some metallic looking shiny silvery stuff in there. That, I believe, is arsenopyrite. And there's some more coppery colored stuff in there. And that, I believe, is possibly a mixture of pyrite and chalcopyrite. So we got a lot of pyrites in that wall rock. And that can be a good sign, because gold can hide out inside pyrites. So it's possible there's some gold there. So let me go back to the tub, and I will work this stuff back a little bit better, and we'll see if there's actually any free mill gold in there. And free mill gold, the definition of free mill gold is gold that you can release from the rock with just mechanical milling, without having to resort to chemical techniques. So far I don't see any gold, but there's still a fair pile of stuff in there. Let me wash it back, and if there is gold there, it should be on the bottom, because it's good and heavy. So let's go see. Let me see if I can wash this stuff back any further and see if we can expose any gold in this pan. Be nice to see some free mill gold in here. That would be great. Gently, gently. Let me tap the pan like this. Tapping the pan like this is going to move all the heaviest stuff right up to the side where I'm tapping. You hold it at about 9 o'clock and tap it at 12, or hold it in 3 and tap it at 12. It moves the heavy stuff up to right under where you're tapping. Okay, let me look at this stuff with the loupe and see. I think we definitely got some chalcopyrite in here. Let me go back out and look at it in the sun and see. There's a lot of goldish looking stuff in there, but I'm pretty sure most of it's either pyrite or chalcopyrite, probably chalcopyrite. But let me go look at it in the sun and see if I can see if there's any free gold in there. Okay, this stuff sure looks like gold, but it's not. This is pyrites right here. I would say mostly pyrite, chalcopyrite. It's like we washed away most of the silvery arsenopyrite. I do not see any for sure free gold, but it could be hiding in amongst those pyrites. So, okay, what have we figured out here? Well, the wall rock around that vein is very rich in pyrites. So that means it could be rich in gold, it's just not free mill gold. We'd have to either mill this stuff a lot finer, down to 500 or 600 mesh, and see if we can get any gold out of it, or use chemical techniques, smelting, or leaching to get the gold out of it. But the pyrites are a very good sign. There's a lot of pyrite in there. I did not do a very big sample, and there's a lot of pyrite in there. Okay, let's try something else. Okay, we're going to do the exact same thing again. Except this time I've got the actual mineralized quartz from the vein. Put some of that in there and we'll crush it up. Did the wall rock before, now we're doing the actual vein rock. Oh, and this is the stuff that was too oversized from the wall rock. I'll just put this back in my bucket over here. Maybe in this bag. And we will screen out this stuff after we crush it. Oh yeah, the quartz being harder and more brittle, it's breaking up a lot easier than that wall rock was. It was just soft. It wasn't shattering when the jaws came together, it was kind of deforming. But the quartz, it's shattering. It's coming apart nice. We'll be through this real quick. Okay, here's our next sample. This is the quartz from the actual vein itself. Last one was the wall rock. This is the quartz. Yeah, this went through a whole lot quicker and easier. That quartz just shattered into little bits. That wall rock was much tougher to process because it was soft and it didn't shatter. It just deformed in the jaws of the crusher like it was chewing a big wad of bubble gum. And you'll notice this quartz material is not nearly as dark black as that wall rock was. The crushed quartz is quite white. But we'll see what's in that quartz besides just quartz. There's a lot of mineralization there. Get it good and stratified here with my agitation. We'll wash some of this stuff off the top. Stop it, stratify again. Keep that heavy stuff at the bottom. The sulfides, any free mill gold, keep that at the bottom. So that's going to be the heaviest stuff here. This quartz is actually, crushed quartz is actually pretty lightweight. This is going to wash away easy and leave behind any treasure it's hiding. Amazing how much the volume of the material increases when you crush it. You know, it's just a little handful of rocks. You'll end up with half a pan full of powder. You know, that's just the way it goes. When you crush material, its surface area increases and its volume increases. Yeah, this lighter colored material is also going to make it easier to see if we got anything good in there. Yeah, I don't pan as fast as some people, that's for sure. You watch some panning videos on YouTube, you'll see people reduce a big pan of material down to nothing in no time. I'm a little more careful. I'm sampling here. I want to see exactly what we got in this pan. I want to make sure I don't lose anything. And I'm not just talking about gold. I want to see what kind of pyrites are in here, what kind of sulfides. You know? Yeah, this is looking a lot like what we saw before. Let me take this out in the sun. Well, first off, let me look at it with my jeweler's loupe and make sure I'm seeing what I think I'm seeing there. Then we'll take it out in the sun. Oh yeah, looks like we got arsenopyrite again, and chalcopyrite and pyrite. Let me take it out in the sun and get you some close-up cell phone video. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing again. We got some silvery arsenopyrite in there. in a lot of other pyrites, although, you know what? I might see some free copper in there. There might be some native copper there. Let me go pan this back a little bit more, very carefully, and see if I'm actually seeing bits of copper in there. Let me go do that. Yeah, there could be some free copper in here. I was seeing what looked like malachite staining on the quartz. So malachite is a copper ore. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some free copper in here. I really wouldn't be surprised at all. That wouldn't be unusual. There's definitely, it looks like some big chunks of arsenopyrite in here. Very silvery looking stuff. Yeah, you'd mistake that for like silver metal if you didn't know better, but it's crunched up crystals of arsenopyrite. I don't see the copper now that I thought I was seeing. Pan it back a bit more. And also got to look for any free gold in here. But yeah, there's a lot of mixed pyrites in this stuff. Looks like we got arsenopyrite, pyrite, and chalcopyrite. More so even than in the wall rock, which had plenty. Oh. Let me go look at it out in the sun. I can't really tell whether I'm seeing copper in there or if it's just a reddish piece of rock. Let me go see. Alright, that stuff right in the center of the field of view. It doesn't really look like it on the video, but with my loupe, it's very silvery. That, I believe, is arsenopyrite. A lot of these fine little bits and these bigger chunks over here are other pyrites. I think we got some ordinary pyrite and we got some chalcopyrite all crushed up and mixed in there. Again, I do not see any free gold. The thing that looked like free copper to me, I don't see now. So I don't know where that went. Or it may not have actually been there. It may have just been a little piece of rock that kind of looked like copper at first. But there is a lot of pyrite in this pan. Much more than was in the wall rock even, and there was a lot in it. So there could be gold locked up in these pyrites. It would just take some further processing to get it out. So it's promising. It's not definitive, but it's promising. So once I get my better ore crushing technology together, I can run a much bigger sample. And if I still don't see any free mill gold in it, I can smelt all of the pyrites and see if I can get any gold out of it that way. And then I'll know whether that vein I found up there on that mountain actually has any gold in it or not. Okay, got one more sample to do. Let me get on it. Okay, here we go. Here's the last of the 3 samples. This is the one from the smaller vein above the main vein that Leslie was sampling. So we'll see what kind of good stuff she got. Okay, so here's the third of the 3 samples. We'll pan it out. Now, Leslie's sample had much less wall rock. There were only 1 or 2 pieces. I included them in with the quartz I ran. So it's kind of a combination of both here. So we'll see what's in here in this combination. So this is a little darker than the last sample, which was all mineralized quartz. This is mineralized quartz and a little bit of wall rock together. But it's kind of representative of the whole vein that way. We'll see if we got anything different in this sample. Well, the voices you hear in the background are my wife and one of the Grove workers trying to discussing how they're going to get in here, get their vehicles in here, because it's so muddy after the hurricane came through. Where they're gonna park. They'll probably get stuck if they're not careful. Anyway, we just about got this pan down to where we need it, like the previous samples. Let me get it good and stratified one more time here, and then I'll start cleaning it up here. We'll see what we got in here. So far it looks pretty much like the other samples. I mean, it is only a few feet, it did only come from a few feet away from the other samples, so probably pretty similar. But you know what? They could have been placed thousands or even millions of years apart with different hydrothermal fluids. You never know. So you gotta sample them all to be sure. Just assume that something a couple feet away is going to be exactly the same. Yeah, I'm seeing the silvery arsenopyrite, which I'm not really surprised to see. There are some mines there, not in the immediate area of where I found this vein, but let's just say in the same mountain range, and they produced a lot of arsenopyrite in their ore. So I'm not too surprised to see that. Get my loop out. What did I do with it? Which pocket did I put it in? Yeah, fair amount of arsenopyrite in here. Let me continue cleaning this up gently. Go out in the sun and have a look at it. Got to check for free mill gold and what other kind of sulfides might be present. Looks like this has got a lot of arsenopyrite in it. This looks like more than either of the two previous samples. Just a whole lot of arsenopyrite in there. So yeah, the two veins aren't exactly identical. This one's got a lot more arsenopyrite in it. Let me go out in the sun and see what I can see with the loop, and I'll get some video for you on my phone. So I don't know how well that's showing up, but all that silvery stuff there, that's arsenopyrite. And there is just a huge amount of it compared to the last samples. This one has a lot more in it. So let me continue cleaning this up and see what's underneath this huge pile of pyrite. See if there's any like free mill gold under there or free copper or anything like that. So let me check that out. All right, so I've cleaned it up some more. The arsenopyrite I've kind of washed away. The silvery stuff, we're down to the pyrite and the chalcopyrite underneath. Now I can't swear to it in the court of law, but I think there are a few very tiny flakes of flour gold mixed in with that pyrite. I was looking at it really close with my loop out here into the sun, and there are a few tiny little flakes in there that aren't quite the color of the pyrite, and they could very well be free mill gold. It's very hard to tell, though, mixed in with all that pyrite. So, hey, this sample has promise. Actually, all the samples have promise. With this much pyrites in them, there could be a lot of gold hiding in there. Oh, the blue jays are having a conniption fit. Usually that means there's a hawk nearby when they start up like that. And we have a lot of hawks here. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a hawk out there. But anyway, it looks like the best sample for last, that the smaller vein that Leslie was working on seems to just be insanely rich with pyrites. It looks like it's got arsenopyrite, chalcopyrite, and iron pyrite in it, and in large numbers, and possibly a little bit of free mill gold. Now, considering how small the samples were that I ran, That's a lot of sulfides, and to see any free mill gold in it is a really good sign. So I have saved the bulk of the samples. We got a lot more material here, so I just ran a tiny fraction of it. So I'm going to wait until I get my flail mill working or some other method of further pulverizing this stuff, and then we'll run it through that process. And then once I have this reduced to a fine powder, 80 or 100 mesh, all of it, we'll pan it out and probably smelt what's left in the pan and see if we've got any gold in there, any significant amount of gold or silver in there. It's really hard to tell what's inside these sulfides, but there's obviously a lot of sulfides here. The copper staining is a really good sign. I think we got some good stuff here, but until we smelt it we won't know, so we'll just have to wait until my flail mill is done. So anyway, I guess that's it for today. I'll be doing some other samples we took in the future, so watch out for those videos. Subscribe to see those future videos, and press that little bell icon YouTube wants you to press to be notified when I release a new video, because as a subscriber you will be notified. Give this video a like, give it a thumbs up if you found it at all interesting, educational, inspirational, whatever. And check out my second channel, ElectroGeek64. Good stuff going on there all the time. And thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.